Hi, good morning. My name is Stephanie Myers. Welcome to Touchstones Nelson. I would like to first acknowledge that Touchstones Nelson acknowledges that we reside in the traditional territories of the unceded territories, of the Snakes, Syilx, and Ktunaxa. We would also like to thank and acknowledge the Snakes, Syilx, Yaqanuki, Ktunaxa, and Métis people for the opportunity to live, learn, share cultural experiences in this beautiful place. So like I said, good morning. My name is Stephanie Myers. I'm the public programmer here at Touchstones. We're going to be doing our diorama project this morning. It's going to be a three-part series that we're going to be doing, and I want it to be a really collaborative experience. So if you folks have ideas, what you want to do with the diorama, it's been years since I've done a diorama, so I'm looking forward to it, and I'm looking forward to what your ideas might be as well. Right now we're in the art lab of Touchstones, and if you've been to Touchstones at all, you're probably familiar with Art Lab. It's a dedicated space for kids of all ages to come and do some arts and crafts, think about the exhibits they may have seen in our two gallery spaces. Of course, our gallery spaces right now are closed to the public, as most all museums are. We've got two exhibits in the galleries right now. We've got the member show, and then we've also got Paul Wald's Centennial Swim. So the diorama that we're doing today is kind of connected to the Paul Wald's Centennial Swim. Most people didn't get a chance to see it because it was only open for about 6 days, I think, before it closed up because of the COVID-19 pandemic. I was lucky enough to see it, and it's this amazing video and sound installation, and it's talking about, well, it's talking about whatever you think it's talking about. What I think it's talking about, and what the artist's statement talks about, is the art of Tom Thompson, who is kind of a forerunner to the Group of Seven. He's an unofficial member of the Group of Seven. He actually passed away just before the Group of Seven was started, but his work is all often showed with the Group of Seven. So we're going to be talking about a little bit of Tom Thompson's work today. And the exhibit that's in Gallery A, the Paul Wald Centennial Swim, is Paul Wald's an artist, and he, in 2017, he swam across Canoe Lake in Algonquin Park to commemorate Tom Thompson's passing. He actually, Tom Thompson drowned in that lake. And so Paul Wald swims across the lake. There's some synchronized swimmers in the lake at the time. He's got an orchestra accompanying him on canoes. It's a really amazing exhibit. I loved it. And it just surrounds you in Gallery A. So I'm really sad that people aren't getting to see it right now, but hopefully that will change in the next future. But right now we're going to head into making the diorama. So I'm just going to get seated with my kit and then we'll get started. Okay, so maybe what we'll do first is we'll go through what was in the kit. So this wasn't in the kit, so I'll take this out of the way. So you should have most of these things that you see in front of you, hopefully. We've got this here actually is we've got some tiny coloring sheets of some Tom Thompson artwork that I'm hoping to incorporate into the diorama, and we'll work on that. So we've got a little candle, we've got pipe cleaners, different sorts of wooden sticks, glue stick, a watercolor paint set, some styrofoam balls, sparkles, googly eyes. You can't go wrong with googly eyes, right? Just googly eyes and everything, and it looks adorable. Toothpicks, and lots of colors of tissue paper, and then we've got the little bag of different kinds of rocks we'll hopefully be using as well. So my idea for the diorama, and maybe I'll just start with that. So like I was saying in the introduction, I want this to be a really collaborative event. So if you have any ideas, feel free to just speak up. You don't got to worry about typing it into the chat or anything like that. We've only got a couple of participants this morning, so it's not a crazy big class. You don't really have to worry about talking over each other. And yeah, so let me know if you have any ideas and we can incorporate them. Has anyone done a diorama before? No? I haven't done one for a really long time, so we're gonna see. So basically a diorama, you can do a couple of different ways you can do a diorama. But what I was thinking of, because I'm kind of relating it to the Tom Thompson Paul Wald Centennial Swim Show, is I want to do one, and you've probably seen them in lots of museums, where it's like you look into something and there's like a kind of a shoreline here, and then you can see underwater, and then you can see above water. So I think that's what we're going to try to do. And what I'm going to start with is taking these small Tom Thompson coloring sheets that you should have, and then we're going to use our watercolor paints and paint those, and then maybe we might use our tissue paper as well, because I was thinking paint the Tom Thompson artwork, and then we could use our tissue paper to maybe make some texture to it. So if we've made the trees a certain color, then we can use that color and tissue paper. So these are the actual images. So this one here is your bottom right one is the one that's called Algonquin October. And so that's the colors he used, Tom Thompson used, but we don't have to use those colors. We can use whatever colors we want to. And then the other two pieces, Pine Island and Bling Inlet in Georgia Bay. And these are the colors that he used for those pictures. And again, we can use whatever colors we want. It might be fun to use more kind of spring colors because it's springtime here. So we can do spring colors. So we can do whatever colors you want. And so maybe we'll go ahead and start painting these small watercolor colors. And so we can start painting those. So you should have paints. I'm actually going to leave my set closed because I've got some ones that we use here in Art Lab all the time. So we can start coloring these. And it'll probably take a little bit, depending how much water you use for the watercolors, for these to dry, that we can actually glue things on them. So we might be doing that a little bit later too. But I was thinking about the lid of the box that you got, and so we'll make kind of a ledge across here using cardboard and the glue gun, and we might make it straight across, or we might make a little bit of a kind of a dip in, so it's almost like a shoreline, if that sort of makes sense. And I was thinking too, to kind of draw it into making it look more like Nelson, is that we could use the little toothpicks and try to, and I don't know if this is possible, build a little orange bridge with the little flat toothpicks that I gave you. So we're going to try to do that and put that up there as well. And what I think I'm going to do for my three pieces, because I'm sticking them all up top, is I'm going to paint them kind of all with the same colors. And then when I take them out, I'm kind of stick them all up around top to sort of give me, kind of make that look like the landscape in the background, if that makes sense. I'll let you finish this on your own, and then maybe we'll move on to trying to figure out if we can make that shoreline like I was talking about. So does that make sense to you? The kind of, like if you're looking at basically, if you're like, you're like a fish basically, and you're looking this way, and you'll see the shoreline here, you'll see a little bit above the shoreline, and then you'll see down below the shoreline. So what I did, because I think we have the exact same, or pretty close to the box, I cut the lid off my box. So if you want to cut the lid off your box. So if you put your lid down like this, and then kind of put your base on top of it, and yeah, vertically like that, and then we'll, if you have a pencil, we'll trace around the outside of this so we know how big it is. And then, so once you get it traced around, it should basically look like the bottom of your box. And then you can kind of decide if you want to have the shore. You can totally have the shore come right out to the edge, so it's like right like that. And then we can start maybe trying to build an orange bridge, our own orange bridge. Or you can make the shoreline kind of dip in a little bit. I'm going to make mine, I think, dip in a little bit like this. And then so basically that's kind of what my shoreline is going to look like. So this is going to be fit inside the box like that. So, and we'll leave on the outside of each edge, we'll leave about this much. So if you take your pencil and just write out a little like that much sort of on each edge, and that's what's going to help glue it to the back. And we'll actually make little tabs that come off the back too, so we can make sure it's good and sturdy. So we'll cut it out around this line. We'll go around here, and then I'm going to go in on my shoreline and up here with the tab, and then up back here, and then the tabs out back, and other side tab, and then down. So we can cut those out. You'll basically end up with a piece that sort of looks like this. Yeah. And so we'll bend those back tabs, so maybe one up and one down, something like that. So they're, and then same with the side ones. We'll bend one up. Well, maybe we'll bend these both up actually. Good. In there, like that. And I was thinking about gluing this in right away, but it actually makes more sense if we do a little decorating of it before we put it in there, because it'll be easier to work with when it's out here as opposed to trying to do it in there. So we'll probably paint it some, and maybe we can use our tissue paper that we have as well, and we can sort of, we can do it any way we want to really, but we can either lay the tissue paper on in big pieces, or we can cut it, like rip it up and put it up on little chunks to make it look more like the outside world, right? So it's not like the outside world usually doesn't come in big long pieces of paper that look like this. So what I'll probably do is probably pick some colors that I want to use for the base of it. Lots of greens to choose from, which is great.
So this part that we cut out is like the water line?
Yeah, exactly. Like if you were like, yeah, exactly. And so it can be totally straight, because a lot of the ones that I've seen in like museums and stuff, it just goes like straight across. But this one I was thinking about, maybe because there's a canoe in the show, we'll do an origami boat, which is pretty easy to do, just a pretty quick couple of folds. We'll do an origami boat and we'll put it on the shore, and then maybe we'll build a an orange bridge, but I don't know, that might be a bit ambitious. I might just use some of this tissue paper on the front of it. And so if you want to choose whatever pieces you want to use to kind of decorate the front of this, and I think what I'm going to do is just sort of decorate, I'll probably not decorate the tabs yet that I'm going to use for gluing it, but I'm just going to put a couple of pieces of tissue paper around here, and then on the back I'm going to end up putting egg cartons or pieces of egg cartons kind of in the corners to make it look more like a natural area. And so you can rip up your tissue paper kind of any way you want to. And then we'll like fold it up a little bit, and then probably I think the glue stick will work fine for this. So I might do something like, And if you kind of crumple the tissue paper up, then you can make it look kind of natural looking, so it looks like rocks or grass, or as opposed to just a flat cardboard box. So, egg carton. So I don't know. That's kind of neat. I'm just looking at the time, so maybe I'll kind of show you what I was thinking about doing with the egg cartons, and you can mess around a little bit with that before Wednesday if you want. But we'll kind of pick it up in the same spot. So I'm kind of thinking, because it's going to fit, the plan is to sort of fit it in like this, right? Get these tabs up, like so. So if we put little bits of the egg carton kind of back there in the corners and whatever way you want to do it, you can put it like I put it with like the high pokey bits up, and then kind of where the egg sits down below, but you can also put them like with that bit up as well, like the top part up as well. It's basically just to give it more texture and make it look as real as possible. We'll probably work on putting our shoreline in there and then put those out. But what we can do now is just rip up some bits of egg carton, and we'll kind of pick it up from there when we start again on Wednesday. And you can use you can use all the little bits too, because what we'll do is we'll put the shoreline in there, and then we'll put the egg cartons in using the glue gun, because it'll hold them better than the glue stick will. And then we'll kind of cover the egg cartons with more tissue paper, and then we'll use some of the rocks and stuff like that and sort of like continue working with that shoreline to make it look as real as possible. You know what, I can put my shoreline in here and sort of work on my egg cartons, and then you'll get kind of an idea of what we're looking for. So I'm going to use my glue gun. So what we're going to do is kind of put it where it's supposed to be, and then lift each of these tabs up and put some glue under there. Okay. That one's actually done. So when I'm putting my kind of shoreline in, I'm using lots of glue, but then I'm also realizing that I got to make sure that the glue cools down enough so it's actually holding. So you just got to wait a couple of seconds. Yeah, it's even crooked like a real shoreline. Perfect. That or be like this, but then I don't want it to be a big gap behind there. Laying down like this is the best way to do it, and you can still see in there. So. my shoreline in. I managed to make it really crooked, but that's okay. So then I've just put some egg cartons in both corners. And what that's going to do is, once I get kind of finished how many I want to put in there, is I'll do the same thing that I did with the shoreline, is I'll take some tissue paper and I'll kind of crumple it up and stick it on top, and then that'll make it look like rocks and lumps and stuff like that along the shore. And then what I might start working on Wednesday is we're going to try to do that orange bridge, and I might start one just to sort of get an idea of how hard it's going to be, because I have no idea how hard it's going to be. And so I want to see if that's too much of a thing, struggles, because what I might end up doing is we could just use something like this and paint it orange and make it look like, you know, kind of an orange bridge. So we might do that. And then we've got the Tom Thompson pictures that I'm going to put a couple of them here, and I might try to fold one and make it go kind of over this, or maybe kind of in back there, something like that. If you want to work on your egg cartons and stuff and have that done for Wednesday and have your shoreline put in there, then we'll kind of start from where we are here. So if for some reason you can't get there either day, we'll record them and we'll put them up on Facebook and on our website so you can find them, so then you can just follow along. You can email me questions or put them on Facebook and I'll find them and get back to you. Well, thanks so much for joining me. That was great. Bye.